Welcome back to the 9,000th episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I've officially lost track of space and time when it comes to this podcast. I don't know how many episodes there's been. I don't know if there's been 900 episodes. I don't know if there's been 3 episodes. I think we're somewhere in the 50s, late 50s maybe. We're in our, we're approaching middle age. And it's a good place to be, for a while when I was, starting every episode saying, welcome to the 37th, episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. It just sounds like quite losery when you know how many episodes you've done. Unless it's like the 100th episode or the 900th episode or something impressive. It's, it's like, well, if you can name all of your episodes on one hand, off the top of your head, it's probably not that great, I don't know what that says about you. But yeah, we've passed that point, and I'm happy to be there. But what hasn't changed is it is, 9:20 p.m. the night before this is supposed to come out. And I'm going to be really honest. I don't know what I necessarily have in the old canon to fire out in audio form this evening. I'm slightly allergy stricken. I'm having some nasalness, if you can hear, which is not very different from my regular voice. That just sounds like I have a sinus infection 24/7. Don't ask why that's the fate I was given. A lot of you can't have everything. You have to be humbled in some way. So I'm just going to sound like I have strep, all months out of the year. And I accept that. I also want to issue a bit of a disclaimer. I'm sipping a bubbly sparkling water beverage, which I don't know if... I feel like bubbly's kind of like taking over. There really wasn't like a go-to sparkling water brand, because bubbly's like fairly new, and I don't remember that it hasn't really replaced anything. I guess like LaCroix is like kind of, but it's still kind of known as like the fancy, which is Yikes. The part of the disclaimer, before I go into the history of sparkling water, the disclaimer of the bubbly was that I'm going to be probably a bit on the gassier side this episode. And then, as we all know, I don't edit. I have never uploaded, I have not uploaded recent episodes into any sort of editing software. I do this fully on my phone, which... for a while, I felt was like an embarrassment to the podcasting medium. Honestly, I'm kind of impressed with me, to be honest. I run an empire from my phone, and now seems like the perfect time to do my favorite thing, which is our weekly reminder that I know that no one is listening to this. If you or anyone stumbles upon this episode, like by accident, maybe on the YouTube stream, and you think, oh my gosh, this loser is talking like if 7 million people are listening. Oh, I know. I just don't know how to perform a podcast, but I know that there's going to be 0 listeners. So this is what I'm naturally providing. But trust me, I know how sad it is. And I think in that, it loses its sadness. Anyway, back to me burping. I'm drinking a bubbly. And what I was saying was I feel like there wasn't really any sparkling water brand before this to really, make it. And now that we've had a resurgence, or not really a resurgence isn't the word. It hasn't really surged yet. We're having a surgence of negative reports around diet soda. And particularly the sweetener of diet soda, which I believe is aspartame, which is found in Diet Coke. now that they're basically telling us, the scientists have done studies and apparently that's really bad for you, which I did always know, but, reading it in the news has only confirmed it to me. Knowing that is being frowned upon, I'm really relying on bubbly to get me through, the 2-week period where I'll try and be better and not drink so much Diet Coke. And then, of course, by the 3rd week, I'll just say, oh, whatever. You only live once. You can really talk yourself into a lot by saying you only live once. Like, should I spend $1,000 on a new iPhone that probably costs $50 for Apple to make? YOLO. Should I, go on a princess cruise to, Atlantis for $400 and miss 6 weeks of work? Sure. You know that I've recently found out there's like year-long cruises, like 6-month long cruises. There's nothing I need to see on the ocean for longer than like 6 days. The idea of a cruise scares me, and I'm not particularly scared of water. Like, if I was in, if I was in some sort of like a ship sinking, like I don't want to say the T word, but a Titanic situation, I feel like I would be pretty confident in my ability to like get to shore, depending on how far shore is. Because, not to brag, but I passed all the way through Swim Kids 10, which I believe means I can swim in like the ocean and be completely fine. Now, I haven't swam in probably since I was like, 12? Like, I've been in the water maybe like a handful of times since then, but actually like swam, like did laps, swam lengths, I was probably like 11 or 12 when I finished swimming lessons, when I graduated with honors at the Swim Kids 10 program. So I don't know how much my skills are going to translate. Hopefully it's the same idea as like a bicycle, where you don't forget how to do it. Although I do have to admit, I have forgotten how to ride a bicycle. I learned one afternoon when I was probably like 10 or 11 years old. I've tried to do it since. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this. I've tried to do it since, and it just doesn't happen. It's something, there's a disconnect. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but I can no longer ride my bicycle. I'm struggling to remember why I started talking about all of this. Yes, the cruises. I have a weird stigma around cruises, but it's not because of, it's not because of the fear of water. Like, I'm fine with water, but like, I think it was during the pandemic, when that one cruise, like the people were stuck on it for like, I don't know if it was days, weeks, or months, but because of like the I don't know if it was like the travel laws or if the people on the actual cruise had COVID, so like they couldn't dock or something. And then like countries, I might be making this part up, but I feel like I remember countries were like saying, no, go here. And then the country, like there was a kind of like hot potato was happening, but like internationally, between nations, internationally. I don't know. But yeah, I have no interest in doing a 6-month cruise. If anyone's gonna ask, if like Hellman's Mayo was gonna send me on like some sort of an influencer trip, that happened to be a 6-month cruise, like I still don't think I would go. Speaking of, I'm kind of jumping around, but saying the word months got me thinking. We are so close to my favorite time of the year. We're in the middle of July, which means we're almost at August, which means we're less than 2 months away from September. And I just feel like September through the end of the year is like the most wonderful time of the year, because you get in September, you can still kind of like live like a summer adjacent lifestyle situation, but you don't have to go full summer. And then you can start kind of dipping your toe into fall, which everybody knows is the best season of the year. If you are someone that thinks the best season of the year is winter, you may be like me and have not fully found out that winter starts at the end of December. I would for years always say my favorite season is winter, thinking that it's because I liked November and December. But apparently the majority of both of those months, all of November and most of December, is still fall. So I think everyone would agree fall is the best month, because you get kind of like, it's like a coterie, what's that called? A charcuterie of all of the different seasons. Like you get the summer in the beginning, and then it goes into fall, but then you kind of can maybe get some snow as well. Like it's a good mix of everything. So I just can't wait to be king. Like, I was thinking the other day, I think the pumpkin cream cheese muffin from Starbucks starts coming back in about a month, which that's really exciting. It is kind of weird that, like, September is, like, 2 months away from July. Like, in 2 months we'll be in September, but then 2 months ago we were in May. Like, those being so close to each other, like, it's kind of like a harsh reality. It's like a I don't think I'm making any sense, but I'm just gonna go with it. It's just really, like, fast, you know, to go from, like, we're at the beach to, like, we're wearing turtlenecks drinking soup, which I love. I can't wait to make soup. It's kind of the only thing that I've made that can turn out, because really, you're just like boiling a bunch of stuff together and then eating it. Like, I love soup. I made a potato pesto soup last fall. It was pretty good. I love pesto. Any excuse to put pesto on anything, sign me up. And then just recently, like maybe a month ago, when it was decided it was going to be winter, and it was, or maybe more fall, and it started like pouring rain, I was like, let me get one last soup in. And by one last, I mean only the second time in history that I had ever made soup, but still. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoys your summer. I need to get better at, like, not accepting, but embracing the season that it currently is. I feel like I'm always, like, looking ahead. Like, we'll be in spring, and I'm like, I just can't wait for summer. And then we'll be in summer, and I just can't wait for fall. Never have I ever wished for winter. Okay, that's the worst. When it's just like January to March is treacherous. Nothing happens. Except, like, St. Patrick's Day. Like, who cares about that? No offense, Patty. But, like, there's, like, it's all of, like, the bad holidays, like Valentine's Day, and I don't even think there is a holiday. Well, I guess I was going to say there's not a holiday in January. The holiday in January is the first day of January, so it's almost as if the rest of the month is useless. Like, there's no long weekend, there's no anything. You've just come off of, like, 2 weeks of doing nothing at Christmas. Like, it's just not, I want nothing to do with it, to be honest. I would like to be excluded from that whole situation that they have going on there. Oh, speaking of things that I would like to be excluded from, something that I would not like to be excluded from is this past week, which was, unbeknownst to me, the week of free things, the week of giveaways. I hope everyone adhered to the following holidays. Speaking of holidays, last week, which I should have talked about in the episode before, or like the last episode, but I think I got derailed and did like a 20-minute deep dive into when I had to go to the bathroom and couldn't find a public restroom facility. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what happened there, but I'm fixing it this episode and not talking about any updates, if you haven't noticed. But we can't change the past, so moving forward, last Tuesday, I believe, was the historic 7-Eleven. It was July 11th. And as everybody knows, every July 11th, or I hope as many people know, on July 11th, you walk into 7-Eleven, you make a, unfortunately, small-sized Slurpee. You walk up to the register, you tell them, "Hi, I'm taking this, and I'm not going to pay you." And they say, "Okay," and you walk out. And now it's changed a little bit, because for whatever reason, every company has decided that they're going to do whatever it takes, by whatever means necessary. They're going to get everyone in the world to download their app. This came into play for the historic 7-Eleven. For the second or third year, you have to download their app or something, and then redeem the free Slurpee on the app, and then show it to them. And there's you have to give them your reward number or something. You can still get the Slurpee, and they don't make it much harder for you to get the Slurpee. You can decide on that day. It's not like you had to have signed up previously or anything like that. You can just do it on the spot in the store, even on their Wi-Fi. But it's just why do all these companies now need to have an app? Tim Hortons, why do you need to have an app? Who else can I Olive Garden, I love you. Why do you have an app? And they're the last. I'm the last person to criticize Olive Garden. And the problem with all these apps is they look old. Dairy Queen. We're gonna get to you in a second, but it's why? Who decided that we're gonna start making promotions in which you need to get an app to participate? Do they really want? They must want our data and our FBI agents just immensely. It must be so important to them to be listening to our conversations. They're probably listening right now. Hi, Dairy Queen. Hi, what's that other restaurant we're talking about? 7-Eleven. And also, the amount of times that I've gone into 7-Eleven to get a big gulp, and now I get their app after the Food and Drug Administration announces that Diet Coke is bad for you, which was exclusively what I was getting in the big gulps. Also, 7-Eleven, while I have you, where is the Diet Coke Slurpee? I understand there's probably an issue with I think from my understanding, because I have Googled how Slurpees work, from my understanding, the thing that freezes is the sugar. So I get if you're not putting sugar in something, it's probably not going to freeze as well. But I don't need it to be frozen as well. I just need it to be a little bit icy. You can for sure just blend it, no? It'll still blend. So just something to think about. But yes, the next place that was participating in the week of freebies was Dairy Queen. On Saturday, I want to say, maybe Sunday. No, I think it was Sunday. It was International Ice Cream Day or something. Because, every object anywhere has to have any noun, person, place, or thing, needs to have an international day. No joke, a couple weeks ago I Googled what the international thing of the day was. It was International Eat Baked Beans Day. And then they have National Cod Day, and then International Cod Day, and then World Cod Day. So if you miss one, you still have 2 other chances. Let's see what today is, just for instance. And I'll do Thursday, the day this comes out, even though it's technically before. July 20th, International Day of, I don't know how to Google this. I have to ask my Snapchat Al. Okay, so tomorrow, technically, in 1 hour and 7 minutes, it's National Moon Day. I enjoy the moon, You need it. It's World Jump Day. See, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Space Exploration Day. Who is that for? Who are we trying to compel to explore space? I feel like you need a lot of equipment for that. Like, you can't just decide, like, oh, it's July 20th, World Explore Space Day, like, let's go do it. Is that illegal? Can I decide, like, I'm going to explore space? I'm Googling. Can anyone explore space? Like, is there, like, intergalactic jurisdiction? Can a normal person go to space? You can buy tickets for a voyage into space with Virgin Galactic. See, no, this isn't what I'm talking about. The people who pay to go to space for 30 seconds and then come back down have too much money. But, like, what if when you were in space, like, God forbid, like, there was even, like accidental, like unmeditated, unpremeditated, I don't even know, like an accident occurred, but it needed to go to court. What court would it go to? Like, the Martians? I don't know about that. And, like, the International Space Station, like, what do they have going on up there? I'm Googling what the International Space Station looks like. There, actually, I would go there. Because that seems like there's some sort of, like setup. You know, like, maybe they have, like, a throw pillow or something. Like, they have maybe, like, a charcuterie board when you get there. International Space Station. Is it a building? Oh, okay, never mind. It looks very minimalist. There's not, like, headquarters. There's not, like, is there Wi-Fi? Is the signal, like, so, do you know when you're texting or whatever, and you have, like, half a bar, and you need additional bars, so you put your phone up, like, as high as your arm can reach to the sky? Are we aiming for space in that situation? Like, so when you get to space, is it just, like, you're firing off texts left and right? Or are you too close to the satellites that it doesn't work? Like, it's like it combusts. Yeah, I have to say, like, I'm seeing some pictures of the International Space Station, and it's looking kind of lackluster. It's lacking luster. That's sad. Anyway, I did have something to say. Oh, I hadn't finished my story about Dairy Queen. Yes, the International Day of Ice Cream. Of course, you had to get the app because you need an app for everything. So I actually did have this app as well. So I'd done my homework for the International Week of Freebies. And it was great. It was, I hadn't had an ice cream cone from Dairy Queen in a while. I quite enjoyed it. I'm also not very hard to please. So, take my reviews of anything with a grain of salt. But I liked it. What I was concerned about, I don't want to say didn't like because it didn't really happen to me, but when the, very nice person at the register typed in what I wanted before they, like, scanned my code or whatever that made it free, I saw that it was like $4 and like 90 something cents for a small Dairy Queen ice cream cone. What? That's almost $5. That's 1/10 of $50. I think. Right? Yeah. Huh? That's 1/20 of $100. For what? I mean, it was pretty good. But, like, you can go to Costco and get that for, it's like way bigger and half the price. And I'm not even one of those people. Like, I will spend money stupidly. I'm not, like, balancing my checkbooks or whatever. I wish I lived in a time where, like, business was done through checks. I would love to write checks. Because it feels so, like, intentional. I also think I'm lazy enough that I would spend less money. Like, if I had to write a check every time I went to the store to buy Oreos, I feel like I would go to the store less to buy Oreos. And you could also see it a lot more. Like, now that I'm not loving that our money is so like digitized. I don't like that because it doesn't feel like money. Like, when I go to reload my Starbucks card and I just see all the stars, or like I see the money, like the amount climb up, like, it doesn't feel like in my mind that I've spent money. And I think that is on purpose, and I think that it's designed to make you spend money. Now, where I don't fault Starbucks is I actually think that they should be exempt from they are, at least for personally for me, they are exempt from the criticism of fast food companies having apps. I think Starbucks should absolutely continue to keep their apps, because sometimes I want to order something funky and I feel bad saying it aloud to the barista at the register, but I feel a lot safer just like typing it into my phone, so I can say like extra whipped cream, blend it, add caramel drizzle. I don't normally ever order this, but I know for sure I wouldn't if I had to say it to the face of another human being, as opposed to type it into the phone of my own being. So they can keep their app. Most places can't keep their app, but Starbucks, keep doing your thing. I also wanted to just complain really quickly about the heat. Last time I complained about the heat, by the following episode, it was like pouring rain, and I got to make soup. So I would like to put in a formal complaint about the heat. I'm hoping that in turn makes it just like pour, by next Wednesday. So we're going to see if it works. We're going to see if I hold the influence that I claim to possess. I don't always, but you never know. And we're going to see what happens. And that's another reason why I like more the spring, I hate the spring. That's more why I like the fall, because it's like you get, kind of like I was saying, you get a glimpse of every season, but it's not every season at its peak. It's like it's summer-ish weather, but it's not as hot as it gets in actual summer, and it's winter-ish weather, but it's not as cold as it gets in actual winter. Like, it's a nice kind of medium, where you don't have to pick a side. Like, you can wear a hoodie, but you don't need to wear a hoodie, but you could wear a hoodie. And like, you could also maybe put over like a waterproof element to your hoodie, but like, if you forgot it at home, it's not the end of the world. Like, I like that. I like, I really try to like kind of have one outfit. I'm very eco-friendly that way. Like, I don't, I'm not like running through a bunch of clothes that, take time, money, and resources to make. I just kind of, pick my one outfit and stick to that. So yeah, I do want to issue like a formal apology. This episode was what it was. I wasn't firing on all cylinders, but listen, you can't always be. The only reason I know an episode is good was because of episodes like these where they're bad. So, you're just going to have to, I guess I'm hoping you kind of accept me where I'm at. I would ask that you go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. I would ask it, but there's, no one listening, especially 29 and a half minutes in. So that's fine. No worries. If I had listeners, I would probably say to tell a friend. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, this, that, and the other. You can also find us on YouTube. I don't really say the YouTube often, but we are on YouTube. You can also find us on, where can you find us on? Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We had a TikTok. Probably haven't posted in about a year, but now's a good time as ever for a comeback. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Kind of depends on where you're at. I'm really going to try to incorporate people that work off schedule of the normal work week. We see you. If your Monday starts on a Thursday, we celebrate you. For a while, my Monday was a Saturday. No, was a Sunday. No. My Friday was a Sunday. And I'm telling you, it felt great because when everyone was just kind of starting to feel like, oh, we have to go back to work tomorrow, like our weekend's winding down, that's when mine was starting. And then really when you work weekends, you can kind of get away with like, giving a 75%. You can kind of like trick yourself into like thinking that it's the weekend for you as well. You're just like, it's a Saturday, Why give 100, Or it's a Sunday. The day of rest. And then, on your actual days off, you can be like, yeah, it's my day off, it's a weekend. But it's like actually Tuesday. I'm telling you, there's something to that. It's not all bad. And that's just looking at the positive, which I always try to do. So I'm going to stop talking before I lose the little substance that I did have in the beginning. But if anyone did listen to this, I thank you. If you didn't, I would say something, but you're not here to listen. So we will see you. You will hear me next week. Bye.